Libra, welcome to your December 2019 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. Wow, you got a good one too. I just did Virgo's reading, and they got the Nine of Cups in a different position, but still very good. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Seven of Cups. This is a card that may have you a little bit confused, a little bit unsure of what your vision is, what direction to go in. But part of this could be a good thing, where it's like you have a lot of choices at your disposal. So you may have a lot to choose from in terms of which direction to go in. And I think that that's always a good thing, even when it feels a little bit overwhelming. And based on, a couple of the other cards here especially, it sounds like it's that you're still riding a wave of success. Let me see, what is your 10th house? Well, I would imagine that your 10th house is Cancer. It must be. Yeah, and Cancer is where the eclipses have happened and the North Node is still there. So Libra individuals may feel that they've had their ship come in. Maybe some of you are like, yeah, right, but even if you're a more quote unquote mature Libra, I always joke about that because it's just like chronological, not necessarily emotional for any of us who are supposedly mature in age. That can be a situation where you're a late bloomer and you start to see your success later in life. And that's destiny as well, where you spent your younger years feeling like you were adrift. This card, though, kind of speaks to feeling adrift for some reason. And I think it's more like the typical Libra thing of like, oh my gosh, how do I decide? The kind of bane of your existence, having to decide something. In the past position, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and this is a card of the person, I was going to say the homemaker, but somebody who is enjoying the home life or enjoying the earth, being, in touch with nature. So I would think it's somebody who has time to stop and smell the flowers. I would, you could even say somebody who's like a stay-at-home mother. Queens can be mothers. And having the resources to do this. But perhaps your children are at the age now where they're in school and now you're thinking about your next phase. And with Libra, excuse me, with Libra, you being a cardinal sign, you really do have to do things. It's very hard for you to just sit around. So that's not an option for you, just to sit like the Queen of Pentacles and enjoy her throne, enjoy her kingdom, her private life. But really the sensual things in life with the Queen of Pentacles, to me it's like the Empress in the Major Arcana. And that can only take you so far. So the higher message is the Six of Wands. Because this is spiritual advice, I would say if you're like making a transition from maybe being at home to going back into the workplace, or maybe it's just like a maternity leave. I'm trying to think of options. Even a man, you know, with the queen, a man can be a queen. A man can be a queen because of the nurturing aspect. If you're a stay-at-home father, you know, there are, you know, they do exist. I've seen them. There's some in my neighborhood. There's at least one man that I see walking around with his kids. The feminine energy is in the form of taking care of your children, and some men are better than their partners at doing that, and that they should be the ones staying at home with their children. But if I'm trying to think of something other than having children that the Queen of Pentacles could represent, you know, maybe even retirement, where you thought that's, you know, what would be the ultimate, and now you're kind of bored. And I really think that that is true, because retirement from what? You know what I mean? I remember hearing a lecture, and the woman said, "Retirement from what?" And she was a numerologist, so she was in. You know, this was a spiritual lecture, but basically, that concept of work being something distasteful that you just count the days until you can leave. You might realize that and say, you know something, maybe I didn't like what I did, or maybe I just kind of sort of liked it, but I can start over again. Maybe I don't even need the money, but I would like to be of service, and I would like to have that sense of doing something for me. And the Six of Wands is a card of recognition. I mean, if I were, you know, getting this as the final card, it would be like, oh wow, you're going to get recognition in the workplace. So this kind of thing, you know, I could see this also coming about if you have gotten like a promotion, and maybe that's what the Queen of Pentacles is, because I think of somebody who's in a supervisory position, which is what a lot of cardinal signs, I think that they actually want that at the end of the day. They want to have that. It's not just like power, but they want the autonomy to be able to if they're going to work for somebody else, if you're going to work for somebody else, you want to at least be able to call your own shots to some degree. And the only way to really do that is if you're in a supervisory position. But you may have gotten that and then realized it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. Because the Six of Wands, I believe, is connected to Leo. And Leo is, in astrology, ruled by the sun and rules the 5th house, which is creative endeavors, including the business that you own. The point I'm trying to make here is that as the spiritual message, this card might be saying that it's time for you to be creative, but to do something that shows off your talents. Maybe you're doing something that really doesn't, you know, align with your best qualities. And therefore you don't feel fulfilled because you're doing something that is not really what you're about. The Seven of Cups can be a card of wishful thinking. I really don't like that term because I think it's wonderful to wish for things. And it means like these vain wishes. So if you have a better phrase for me, you know, write it below, because I can't think of anything else to say, and I don't like saying it. Every time I say wishful thinking, I think that's wonderful, wishful thinking. But anyway, that's something that could be where you're hoping that's going to change. I think that's the big one, that you're hoping it's going to change, but there's no evidence, like the workplace, or if this is a relationship. I'm trying to think of this as a relationship issue. I think for relationships, it can be more of trying to navigate the idea of parenthood. And if you're like a woman who wants to go back to work, and but you don't know you're pulled in different directions, which is completely understandable. One more thing, the Seven of Cups can be addiction. And with the Six of Wands as the spiritual message, this is about to me, this is what you deserve in terms of honor, okay? Just like the Six of Pentacles is about what you deserve materially. The number 6 relates to the planet Venus. And Venus is your ruler. And, you rule the 7th house of relationships. Well, there's also another house that Venus rules. The second house, Taurus, money, possessions, but also self-esteem. So I would say, I don't know if this is true, but I would say that the Six of Wands is about self-esteem. And do you have enough of it where you don't tolerate things that shouldn't be tolerated? I mean, it's very clear cut. What crosses you is the Nine of Swords. This is a card of anxiety, of feeling like your hands are tied. Well, it's funny because the Eight of Swords to me in the Rider-Waite deck is kind of almost like this. I really sometimes wonder what the difference is between the 8 and 9 of Swords. I think the 8 of Swords is more what you do to yourself. And the 9 of Swords could be like situational anxiety, where there is something that you are dreading, whether it's leaving a relationship, asking for a raise, turning in your pink slip, at the workplace, whatever it is, you're dreading it. So it's keeping you up at night. This is a card of insomnia. And whatever is going on with the Nine of Swords, anxiety, the bottom line is that you can triumph over it if you are able to realize that you're somebody who may be going through a transition right now, and therefore it's a little bit uncomfortable because there may be things that are going to change. For sure, the cardinal signs like Libra are getting hit by those eclipses, those cardinal eclipses. So this may be, just an ongoing saga of the last year. But even before that, the fact that Pluto, I'm not going to get into all of that, but, in cardinal energy. And that's in your 4th house of home and family. So I think you're going to get a big boost at the end of December in that sector, too, with the solar eclipse there, and Jupiter there, and Uranus there. I mean, it's just going to be like liberating and good luck and things like that. However, in the interim, you may still be kind of dealing with a bit of the remnants of something. And I would say this too, even though this is not an advice card, I would say look to your source of anxiety. If it's a person, place, or thing, and realize that you have to change this. You can't just let it keep going as it is. And the point being that this may be a situation where you are dealing with something related to a workplace. Maybe, who knows, maybe things are up in the air in your workplace, and that's the Seven of Cups, and you're confused. Like, am I going to stay? Am I going to go? And the Six of Wands would be saying you can determine that. You don't have to wait for somebody else to make that decision. Because that suits them a lot of times too, because then they have that power about making you, sweat. And in personal relationships too. That sense of like, somebody like you not knowing whether or not somebody's doing something, or maybe they have a drinking problem and you're dedicating your life to this person, and they're just they may even know that you're codependent, and they love that because they're pulling the strings. So it's really important to know exactly what is making you anxious, and why, if you feel like you can't break away from that, why do you feel that way? It's usually going to be some variation of self-esteem issues, and that's normal. What's coming in is the Temperance card. This is a card, if somebody needs to get sober, it's a card of sobriety. And that, that may include some Libra people. Ooh, that thing went, there was a little focus issue there. This is a card related to Sagittarius. And of course, this is Sagittarius season in December. So it might be saying that this is going to be a time that's good for you. Also, the Temperance card is about the spiritual and the material balance in both of these, earth and water. Queen of Pentacles, earth and water. There you go. Having your feet planted firmly on the ground, but also delving into your spiritual side to help you to make a good decision if that's what you need to do, to help you break away from something that is upsetting you. The Nine of Swords, meditation. But meditation, if you are somebody who says, oh, I can't sit still, do a walking meditation. That can be like such a great thing. It's not power walking. It's contemplative walking. And you don't even, you could do it to clear your mind and not even be thinking, to avoid thoughts. But even if you're thinking empowering thoughts. So the true power walking, which is, mental empowerment. And the outcome, the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. It's so interesting. The Seven of Cups and then the Nine of Cups. Getting what you want, maybe not in the way that you expected it. Maybe having to kind of go walk through the fire a little bit. And what have you. But if there's something, I think, what I would say, Libra, is in December, get very clear about what you want in 2020. You know what I mean? Don't, with the Seven of Cups and knowing Libra, knowing how you can see all sides of an issue. And so you come up with something that you want. Gosh, I really want to go back to school. Oh, but do I really want that added debt? Do I really want to be in my 30s with a bunch of 20-year-olds? Do I really, you could easily talk yourself out of something in 10 seconds. Put a hold on that analytical mind for a while. Just really brainstorm. I don't even think it would be brainstorming. Well, coming up with things that you would want. So that could be the positive side of the Seven of Cups, is like seeing all the opportunities that are actually within reach of you at this moment. Not stuff that's pie in the sky in a long time from now, but things that you can really go after and accomplish, shorter range goals. And these are things that are doable, and the universe may cooperate with you with the Nine of Cups. And 2020 may be like an awesome year for you if you are willing to do your part, and you're willing to get clear on what you want. Okay, Libra. I hope you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, if you'd like to look at 2020 and things like that, Please check me out. I'm at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below in the description box to my online store. Take care. Bye.